Hi, I'm Matt Guidry, co-founder and artistic director of Upstream Arts. We're really excited to share some time with you in these videos. All right, we're going to jump right in. First, I just want you to watch my friend Abby for a minute. Abby, I want you to listen to this music and move your body in response to the rhythms and sounds. I want you to mirror the music in some way with your body. I see her moving her shoulders up and down, maybe in response to that bass that we hear. Now maybe she's syncing her hands up with the drums or with those horns. Nice. Okay, I'm going to bring in some more of our teaching artists, Nora, Pedro, and Tina May. And I'm going to ask them and you to copy or mirror how Abby is moving their body. Now, I encourage you, throughout this training series, as you watch, join us in our practices. All right? Here we go. Let's all mirror Abby. How many details can you notice about how another person is moving? Try to use your periphery to notice the details, the fingers, shoulders, the head. Put some mindful intention into listening with your eyes and with your whole body. This is our first practice, active, intentional listening. I've heard it called radical listening, which I really love. It's beautiful. To practice mirroring fosters empathy. It's a chance to try on how somebody else moves and feels. It's also an acknowledgement that I see you, I hear you, I notice you. In this activity, which we simply call group mirroring, to be acknowledged by a group in this way when everyone else is doing what you're doing, that can be a powerful experience. But it can also be powerful in a one-on-one situation. Mirroring is also a part of the origin story of Upstream Arts. When our son Caleb, who doesn't use words to communicate, was about 4 or 5 years old, and he had just learned to walk. And I was working with a dance theater company. And Caleb would come to the studio to watch us, and one day, as he watched 15 people move around the studio, a light bulb went off in his head. And he thought, I understand what you're doing. I understand that your movement and your form contains ideas, contains meaning, contains language, all wrapped up in the form. And he walked over to the mirror and he started imitating our movements. So we moved back at him and he moved, and soon it became a conversation, right? A back and forth exchange of ideas, which is all communication is. And so Julie and I took that one idea that we can communicate in so many different ways, and we thought we can do that with all of the art forms. And so over the last 15 years, we've developed a curriculum based on this idea. Throughout our training series, we're going to continue to practice mirroring as a form of listening and as a form of acknowledgement. And we're going to explore how we use these practices to develop rich and authentic relationships with our students and with our colleagues. All right, but now, let's see. I think I have one right here. Yeah. Ready, Julie?
Thanks for that, Matt. I'm just going to put that right over there. I'm Julie Guidry. I'm one of the co-founders and the executive director of Upstream Arts, and I am thrilled to be presenting with my colleagues Matt and Jess this 6-part video series called The Art of Engagement. Since 2006, Upstream Arts has been working with people with disabilities in classrooms, at adult day programs, out in the community, teaching these nuanced social skills, well, really what we're calling the hard skills of living together, being in community. And we use the arts to do that with 30 professional teaching artists from the Twin Cities metro area. They're coming together to teach a multidisciplinary arts curriculum that teaches how to maybe make a friend, but I think more importantly, how do you keep a friend? And the thing that we do that I think is so incredible and unique is that we use the arts to teach these complicated, nuanced experiences. because art helps us understand how to break down different forms of communication. Dance and movement is a great way forward to connect. Because art is this vehicle for self-expression, for self-identity, for self-awareness, for telling our stories, for letting people know who it is that we are and what it is that we want to know about them. And because art is this ideal medium for diversifying how we engage students, how people access information, and get themselves ready to learn. So in this video series, we're going to share elements and activities from our really structured, innovative, multidisciplinary curriculum that we facilitate on a regular basis. We're going to share best practices around teaching, learning, and really these fundamentals of building community, which are actually this in service to being able to receive information and actually present information. It all is underneath a framework that we call our 3 C's: connect, converse, collaborate. So how do we think about finding that initial spark of connection? How do we build on that connection through the development of a shared language? And how do we use common ground that we've established to work together and accomplish something? The 3 C's of connect, converse, collaborate. That is going to be the areas that we are going to be focusing on within this video through this innovative multidisciplinary curriculum that we use at Upstream Arts, identifying our best practices around teaching, learning, and building community. Well, let's get going. I'm going to give you our schedule for the day. So the first activity we did was mirroring, which is done. We can cross that one right off the list. Mirroring is such a good way for us to get our bodies ready to learn. Now, in the second part of the schedule, it's our welcome, which is what I'm doing right now, is welcoming you into the space, letting you know what you can expect, not only physically getting our bodies ready to learn, but getting our minds ready to learn. From there, we're going to do introductions. Hi, my name is, and today I'm feeling. It's a great way for us to check in with each other. We'll move from there to transitions and really looking at the juicy bits of why transitions are so important. We're going to take a deep dive into creativity after that. And then we're going to think a little bit about how we engage with those around us. And in doing that, how we build relationships, how we build community. We're going to close it all out at the very end of our time together, talking about an assumption of ability and an attitude of access. But before we move forward, one of the most important things that we can do is establish our guidelines, our parameters for how we're going to come together and be in community in this space. We're going to share with you our choices, the way we support one another, and the risks that we can take. Those are our 3 guidelines. It starts with choice. Everybody can choose how they want to participate within the space with us. We're going to offer choices, and we're going to honor people's choices. Because when we do that, we invite people to feel supported by the community that we're working to build as a collective. That support is the second guideline that we are inviting everybody to have. Not only feeling supported, but actually supporting each other within this space. Because if we are providing choices, if we are giving space for people to feel supported, it allows us to accomplish our last guideline, and that is risk. If you feel supported and feel like you have options for how you're going to show up, you're going to be more willing to try something new, to take a risk, to put yourself out there in a new and a unique way. When we do all of those 3 things, we build community, we create opportunities for learning. Choice, support, and risk. We hope you'll try something new with us today. All right, let's get going. Whew. Whew.
Thank you, Julie. Put that right there. Hi, my name is Matt, and one way that I prepare myself for work is I exercise in the morning to wake up my mind and body.
Exercise in the morning.
Yeah, try it on, those of you watching. Feels good. Nice. All right, Jess.
Hi, my name is Jess, and one way I prepare for work is I set an intention. And usually it goes something like this: let me be helpful today.
Let me be helpful today. I love that. An intention. I'm going to take that. I'm going to steal that, Jess. All right, Julie.
Hi, my name is Julie, and one thing I do to prepare for work is, well, for sure I have a cup of coffee, but I like to stretch a little bit in the morning. So just,
Oh, yeah. Try that on. Oh, nice. Thank you, Julie. How do you prepare yourself for work? And has it changed since we've moved to this distance learning format? I think I spend a little bit more time in preparation of my space. I want to make it visually interesting, yet without too many distractions. We all have our own routines and patterns and habits that make us feel comfortable. And it's really good to name and notice what those things are as we continue to grow and expand in our self-awareness. Okay, that's introductions. We do that in every single class and in every single training. It's a chance for everyone to share something about themselves into the space and to be acknowledged. And not only that, we're also practicing how to be a leader and how to be a follower. Okay, let's move on. Here we go.
Thanks, Matt. Hi, I'm Jess Finney. I've been a teaching artist with Upstream Arts for over 10 years, and I'm also a licensed marriage and family therapist, providing school-based therapy through the Community School Collaborative with Change, Inc. At Upstream Arts, we believe it's critical to also prepare together, whether it's when we're working with a group of students, one-on-one, or with our colleagues. Today, we're just going to breathe together. Matt, how many breaths should we take? 2 or 3?
Oh, 3.
3. Okay, great. Julie, would you use the breathing ball to help visualize the breath for us while we take our 3 breaths together? Great. Here we go. 1. 2. 'Great. That was a helpful reset for me. Now I feel ready to move forward. Breathing is a great and simple way to make a transition. It can help regulate a student or group that you're working with, in addition to giving you a moment to regulate yourself. It can slow us down and encourage listening in a different way, listening to our own bodies and needs. Transition activities like this can be used either to start a session, to transition between activities, or to end time together. In my previous career as a theater director, it was crucial that I paid attention to the moments of transition, as the play began, in between scenes or big ideas, and as the play ended. I had to be intentional about what I used and what I asked the actors and the designers I worked with to use during those moments. The same tenets come into play even outside of the theater. There are so many different ways to help ourselves and those we work with transition. Some of them might include breathing, stretching, tensing and releasing muscles, having a movement break or a dance party, silent movement or using silence, laughter, using a piece of music or changing some other sensory part of the environment like lights or changing a virtual background. Take a minute to think about how you make transitions. What's your favorite? Have you found a creative way to adapt your transitions into a distance learning format? As we moved into streaming classes, we found that being intentional about moments of transition were just as critical as when working in person. Maybe even more so, because we needed to show where do we want the attention to go and what do we expect and what do we want students to be doing with us. Now, where did I put that ball? Oh, here it is. Throwing this imaginary ball is the way that we transition to signal a change in leadership. We do it in every class, every training. It becomes a routine that everyone starts to recognize and expect. Then our brains can relax a bit, which can help make people more comfortable. another important part of transitions. Okay, let's keep it moving. Here you go.
Better be careful. When Julie spoke at the beginning, she talked about how art is at the center of all of our work. Now, many people, when they hear that word art, they think capital A art, like the art you see at a museum or on stage or at a concert hall. Many people don't feel like they're artists, so the word makes them a little nervous. But I want to tell you, what we're really talking about is creativity. Now, let's look at a definition that I really like. Creativity, the ability to transcend traditional ideas, rules, patterns, relationships, and the like, and to create meaningful new ideas, forms, methods, interpretations. Creativity is about taking what you have in front of you and making something new. The human brain has an amazing ability to see the what if, to see the possibilities. What if I change this or that? What if I took it apart and put it back together in a new way? Or what if I added this to that? What would I get? Well, let's take a look at the group mirroring activity we did at the beginning of this video. One person leading and everybody else following. Let's try adding in different kinds of music. Again, try it with us. Jump in, move your body. Oh yeah. Oh, changing up the music really creates a different kind of energy and experience. All right, instead of it being a group activity, let's put people in pairs. Now, as you watch, focus in on one pair and try to join in on their mirroring. Mirroring in pairs like this with other people around you doing different movements takes on a whole new challenge for focus and concentration. Okay, now I'm going to assign both Abby and Tina May as leaders, and Pedro and Nora, and those of you watching, you can choose to follow either leader, right? And you can switch anytime you want. Let's give it a try. This takes us to yet another level of concentration. All right, let's take out the music, and instead of movement, let's make it a vocal mirroring activity.
Hum ba ba ba. Hum ba ba ba.
Ba ba pew.
Ba ba pew.
Again, the same fundamental practice of mirroring or copying what somebody else is doing. But each new version engages the senses in a new way. You see, artists, they don't create something out of nothing. They explore how many different ways they can look at and manipulate the same thing. Much of the Upstream Arts curriculum was born out of this idea of taking one activity and changing or manipulating it in one simple way to create something new. Innovation is based on what has come before. Part of the artistic process is about putting mindfulness and intention into rethinking your rules, routines, and patterns. Creativity is about flexibility and transformation and can be a catalyst for social-emotional learning. All right, I want you to think of one activity that you use in your work, something that you find successful. And just for a minute, I want you to brainstorm maybe how you could change it slightly. How can you change one element to create something new? Explore it in your mind. See if you can see the what if. And these same intentions of creativity that we apply to content and curriculum development, well, they can be applied to how we engage with each other and build relationships. It's about how we change our mindsets just a little bit. And we're going to start to explore these ideas in our next video as we start to explore our 3 C's: connect, converse, and collaborate. And we'll begin to look for that initial spark of connection. But for now, I'm going to pass it back to Julie to wrap it up.
Thanks, Matt. I'm just going to pop that right over there. As we round it out for this first video here, I want to talk a little bit about the importance of and how we think about preparing ourselves. When we prepare ourselves, we reset our mindset and get ourselves not only ready to teach, but inspire our students to be ready to learn. We focus as an organization in these 2 specific areas as far as preparing is concerned. The first one is that we assume ability. Everybody can and will participate. If we stop focusing on the deficit and rather think about an ability to, a willingness to, I believe that you can learn, we will all rise to the occasion. That assumption of ability is one of the greatest ways that we as an organization and we as artists prepare ourselves to teach within the spaces that we are teaching. The second way that we prepare is to make sure that we remember on a regular basis that access is an attitude. I can build a beautiful space that has ramps, that has elevators, that has electric doors, that ensures somebody can move into a space with great ease. But if the moment they arrive in that space, they are not welcomed, somebody does not greet them, they are not acknowledged, our curriculum isn't bent, flexed, able to accommodate the diversity of learners that are in the room, all of that built environment access that we have created is totally and completely irrelevant. Having an attitude of access and an assumption of ability are fundamentals in how we start to build culture and community within a classroom environment, within a home environment, within a one-on-one relational environment. That's all we got for you today. How about we take one more breath together, and you can wiggle your body, roll your body a little bit. Just a nice way to close it out. So here we go, whatever way feels comfortable for you. In and out. Nice. Nice. Thanks, you all. Keep practicing being creative.